tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into letting you teach a few different things.
Sure. Okay. So first of all, let me say likewise, Dr. Joe, I'm excited. And like I shared with you before, I have such respect and regard for what you do and what you've done in the past, that anytime I can be involved with something that you're involved with, I want to make sure I can take advantage of that. So for myself, I've been very fortunate. I have had the opportunity to work in the corporate arena for, I guess, in totality, about 30 years. And it's gone very, very well for me. And I know that the topic tonight is mindset, so I'm gonna get into that in just 1 second. But I will say this, that when I look at my background and how I was able to attain certain levels of success that I have, it was primarily because of one thing: the way that I thought. And so I went from I'm a graduate of North Carolina A&T State University. I'm an Aggie, graduated in 1982. Very excited about that. I got my master's at Liberty University. So my master's is in divinity. But I made a decision, Dr. Joe, in 1986 to be a corporate executive. My background is law. And so from that perspective, it starts with one thing. I'm not even teaching yet, but it does start with one thing, and that's a thought. That's a thought and a decision. So I made a decision. I'm going to be a corporate executive. The how was not my responsibility. But long story short, once I made that decision and put forth the corresponding action, everything that was consistent to me with being a corporate executive, that's exactly what came to pass. So I was able to pull the human resources, financial resources, and other aspects of learning that I needed to propel me to get to the particular level, to the extent where I went from from entry level customer service representative to international corporate president. Now, here's the thing, and I hope people can receive what I'm going to say. Here's the thing: no business background. I've never had a business course ever. So I don't want people to nullify their success or disqualify themselves because they look at credentials and go, well, I don't have those credentials, I don't have that, it's not necessary. Do you have the desire? That's what I want to know. Do you have the desire to go from where you are to where you want to be? That is the prerequisite for being success in any arena. And so I went on from American Express to a company called Image Technology. I was a director there, and went to other couple of companies. I became vice president of Market America, and then I became the CEO of a subsidiary. I worked in Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, and it's been an awesome, awesome journey for me. And I've been very, very grateful to God for the opportunities that I have had. Of course, there's been some hard work as well. I don't believe in grinding. So people can think what they want. I don't believe in grinding. I believe in flowing. You flow in this aspect of things already being done where in your head. So for me, grinding has to take place here from an anxiety perspective. I'm not really sure what the outcome is going to be. And I'm sharing with you all tonight, I'm always, to the most part, confident and sure that the outcome is going to be exactly what I created to be. And I don't see that from an American perspective because I have been blessed to a large degree. And really quickly, Dr. Joe, so when I was in Australia, my last year was 2012. That's when I decided to take the entrepreneurial journey and started Triune. And Triune is a coaching. We coach. We certify individuals to be coaches. We also train. So I have trainings with Walmart, of a variety of different corporations I have training contracts with. And finally, we do public speaking. So I've been a public speaker for almost 30 years as well. Some of the guests tonight may be familiar with Toastmasters. And so I was an international Toastmaster. I am a DTM, which is less than 1% in the world. And in 2004, I was the District 37 International Speech Evaluation Champion. And so I believe in going 100, in all that we do. And so, I started the coaching business in Australia. And really quickly, Dr. Joe, I get to your next question. In Australia, the coaching industry is regulated. It is not regulated in the United States. And because it's not regulated, we can charge insurance and things of that nature. But then again, we don't get the same amount of income. But in Australia, I had to go back to the University of Melbourne. Then I had to go to something called the Coaching Institute, which is also in Melbourne. You had to pass both of those and then take a bar. Now, if you pass the bar, then you could be what we call certified to accept compensation for your services in Australia. Without the bar, you cannot accept compensation. If you are found accepting compensation, it's considered malpractice. The same way if you practice law in this country without passing the bar exam. So in a nutshell, I've been very, very excited. The business right now is called Triune. It's been around since 2012. We are headquartered in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And so in a nutshell, that I'm married. I got two lovely daughters. I got one that's 40 and one that's 32.
My next question is, what is NLP? And tell us
Okay.
some of the things that you've helped people change using NLP.
Okay. NLP, neuro, the mind, linguistic, language, programming, just that, programming. We all have, we all are programmed, Dr. Joe, and either we're either programmed knowingly or we're programmed unknowingly. And so what we do with NLP is take the programs that have been studied. John Grindler and Richard Bandler are the creators of neuro-linguistic programming. And as you mentioned on the onset and the introduction, neuro-linguistic programming has been maximized, if you will, by a gentleman named Tony Robbins, you know, Awaken the Giant and all the great things that he's done there. But all the techniques that he used are still under the auspices of NLP. And some of the things that we can do with NLP that have been very, very rewarding for me is get rid of phobias. So if a person has a fear of spiders, that they can't get on elevators, and I have clients that can't get on an elevator. They've been taking the stairs all their life. Some of my clients can't stay in a car if the door is locked. As soon as that click, click, and that door locks, they get to in a panic attack. Anxiety. We have people from testing anxiety to social anxiety, all those various things. So NLP, we have various techniques because you are a practitioner. So when you become an NLP practitioner, you are in the space of making a decision of what techniques do I need to use based on the prognosis of the client that's coming to see you. So your client may come to see you, and and this actually happened. This is a real life situation, and the young lady had been savagely raped, and she was in a great deal of pain. And from what she had shared with me was she had been seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist for over 20 years. And I shared with her, because it was obviously that she couldn't even talk without, just crying profusely. I said, we can get rid of the pain right now. So one of the techniques that we use in NLP is called anchoring and collapsing an anchor. Because what happens, now look at it like this. There is no such thing as a thought without an emotion tied to it. Right? Follow what I'm saying? So there are neural pathways that we have that's connecting the thought and the emotion together. So what we do when we find a person that's in that kind of pain is we want to go there and we want to sever, we want to collapse that neural pathway, but not just leave it collapsed, because remember, with NLP, we don't give you amnesia. No, you still remember. Well, because of the memory, we have to create a separate NLP pathway that's more favorable. So when the thought presents itself, you take a different path. So let me, so if I said it like this, I'm not really sure where all the guests live, but most, if you're in the Triad area, you're familiar with Interstate 40. And so if you took Interstate 40 to Winston-Salem, to the mall or to visit someone or to work, and all of a sudden you woke up tomorrow, Interstate 40 wasn't there. Well, initially there'd be a little bit of a shock. Wait a second now. I know I've been taking Interstate 40 all this time. What happened to Interstate 40? And then you look to your left and there's a detour of a more scenic route. That's what we do with NLP. That's one area. That's one of the most powerful ones. And so getting back to the example I just gave you, this same young lady went on Facebook and told the world that she had been seeing a psychologist for 20 years, and we got rid of that pain for her in 20 minutes. And so NLP is a very, very powerful discipline. So when we apply those techniques properly, we can do a whole lot of good as far as giving people the tools that they need to get out of pain, to get out of their own way, to rid themselves of phobia, to lose weight, to stop smoking, any of those things, those things are programmed based on a certain trigger. So if you're a smoker, then a trigger could be what? After you eat, you want to smoke. When you wake up in the morning, you want to smoke. So there's certain times where those receptors start going off. So we'll attack it right there and get rid of that and create a different path. So you won't have that urge to continue to indulge in what some may say is bad behavior. And so from that perspective, as an NLP practitioner and as a coach, I'm a master coach as well. When your client comes to you, they don't know what to do. All they know is, I want some help. And so what we're there to do is to assist them with whatever symptoms that are present to them when they come to see us.
So Renwick, what are some things we can do, I know, to break through if we have roadblocks that's stopping us from being successful?
That's an excellent question. And Dr. Joe, and that's one of the reasons that coaches exist and other individuals who have expertise in the area exist, because what I have found is that the difficulty in getting out of our own way is we don't know how, or we don't know why. We don't know what the roadblock is. So we really can't identify. We can't remove it because we don't know what it is. So we have individuals who are unfortunately sabotaging their own success because they don't realize what there's not clarity there of what their roadblock may be. We don't. Three things really quickly that individuals are typically afraid of. One, fear of not being loved. That's number one. So if you find individuals in their own life that are accepting of other people that they probably shouldn't be accepting of, they know this relationship may not be the best for them, but they maybe had some situations in their past with the childhood or early childhood, or dad not being there, just a variety of different things. And so they have a fear of not being loved. So what happens is if someone comes and they know logically, this is not the best thing for me, but because there is a fear of not being loved, I'm going to attach myself and hang on as tight as I can anyway. Number two, fear of not being good enough. And so what we find people, especially business people, Dr. Joe, people who have the capacity to be successful entrepreneurs, they do what's called analysis paralysis. But ultimately what's going on is there is a fear of not being good enough. So as a result, if I don't start, I don't have to fail. Because somewhere on the inside, they're saying to themselves, knowingly or unknowingly, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I don't have that background. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough, whatever. So what I'm saying is we all have those, we create, giants in our own mind. But as a result, what happens is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, you're right. And until we remove that blockage, the mindset that you're currently having is going to bring to you exactly what you're expecting, a lack of success. Number three, fear of not being accepted. So in this space, Dr. Joe, this is where you find people who are succumbing to peer pressure and other things of that nature because I won't be accepted. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, even though I know it's not the right thing to do, because if I don't do it, then this group that I want to be accepted by won't accept me. And so let me give you, if I may, Dr. Let me give you a real quick example about the mindset and what happens to people. So I'm in Australia, and we probably did, not just my own money, but the company, we did about maybe 70, 80 million a year. Well, one of the distributors was doing extremely well. I won't mention her name, but she was doing about 350,000. Okay. So I started the coaching business, as I mentioned, when I was still in Australia. So she comes to my office, she's sitting down, and she was what you call like not a bodybuilder, but a fitness person. She was an Australian lady. And they owned a gym called R2K. It'd be synonymous with Planet Fitness today. So she's sitting there, and we're going back and forth, and obviously she's quite upset. Her marriage had failed. The dad had the children, and she's looking so distraught. And she's about 45 at the time. So this is like 2010. And so I said, let's do a little time travel. So I asked her, so let's go back 10 years. Couldn't find anything there. Remember, as a coach, you're the practitioner. Let's go back 10 more. Let's go back. So we went back to, she was 10 years old. I'm gonna speed the story up. And I asked her, well, where are you? And she said, I'm in our automobile. Okay, well, who's in the car with you? Mommy, daddy, and me. Wonderful. What do you see? She said, oh, we're in the rich people neighborhood. Is that right? Yes. How do you know? Because my mommy said so. And these houses belong to rich people. And you never want to be like them because they're mean, they're nasty. I just sat there and she just started crying because she came to the realization that somewhere within herself, $350,000 equated to being rich, and she never wanted to be rich. So when she got to a level that she thought was equivalent to being rich, she sabotaged it. So once again, it's mindset. And so it's in that space where what we try to do as coaches is help a person get rid of that mindset, help them get unstuck, if you will, because there are people. And you know what's ironic, Dr. Joe, and to your guest as well, a lot of my clients are high performers. Yeah, they're high performers. But they get into a space where either they lose confidence, they get stuck for one reason or another, they allow their past to come back and haunt them. And so if you look at it like this, you have a stream, and the stream is flowing, right? And you throw a stick in the water. So the stick is going to follow the flow of the water. but there's rocks in the water too. And so one of the rocks hits the stick and it stops it. Okay, so I've got a question. Do we need to dam up the whole stream? Do we need to pull out? No, we don't need to do that. But what we do need to do is get over to that stick and give it a little nudge to get it what? Unstuck. Now it can flow back the same way it was before it became stuck. So in that space, that's also in the arena where coaches are very effective. If a person knew how to unstuck themselves, they wouldn't be in your office. So there's a space where there's an unawareness of why I'm not attaining the level of success that I know I'm capable of. And sometimes it's false, and that's why this profession has a lot of corporate executives, has a lot of high performing people. We have professional athletes because they know at some point I was flowing and I'm not flowing any longer. And one last example, it's like the GPS. You know the destination, don't you? So as a client, you know where you want to go. You know your destination. So you come to a coach to help us what? Direct you. One more note, and you may have some coaches on the line tonight. Coaches, you know we don't give answers. No, coaches ask profound questions. So we're the GPS, but you got to drive the car. So we'll give you direction. We'll give you pointers. We'll give you signposts to get you to go in the direction to your destination, as long as you're willing to do, if you're willing to do the work. And so we guide you, we support you, we help you, we encourage you, we uncover. There's what's called a delayering process, that we're going to uncover some things that you may not be aware of. And then ultimately in the midst of that coaching session, we do what's called creating a shift to get you to move from one aspect to where you are. Now get this, because this is one of the things that's not talked about a lot. Pain. One of the things, Dr. Joe, and to the rest of the guests tonight, that really gets a person to make a shift is pain. Individuals, beings, if you will, are much more willing to do things to prevent pain than we are to experience pleasure. So there is a space during the session, you know, depending upon what direction you're going in, where if I need to get you to make a shift, I need to wrap pain around your situation. I need to wrap pain. So I say things like this: what is it costing you? So tell me again. Oh, you've been in a relationship with an abuser. Same guy, different name. Yes. How long? I don't know. Most of my life. Okay. So with one of the gentlemen, in fact, your husband, you had a child. Would that be accurate? Yes. Was he abusive? Yes. Physically? Yes. And verbally? Yeah. Would you say that your children, I guess they're on what, teenagers at this point, were they ever privy to any of this abuse? Yes. What am I doing? I'm wrapping pain. So then here's the question. Then it's costing you something, isn't it? What are you teaching your children? That this is acceptable? Are you all following what I'm doing? It's a technique. It's a technique. And I got to wrap pain around it to get you to shift. Otherwise, you said all your relationships, right, were of domestic violence or domestic abuse in one form or another, because now it's become habitual. Now you are addicted, but I got to get you out of. That's why you come to see a practitioner to get you out of that space. Now, please hear my heart. We are not abrasive by no means. We believe in gentle exploration, but there is a space during the session where I'm going to have to get you to shift. Otherwise, you're going to repeat these same behavioral tendencies after you leave this office, and we don't want that to happen, right? We want you to get out of that space so you can live a life that you deserve, and with an individual that you deserve. And then your children can also be in an environment where they're not subjected to that type of violence, okay? And so, yes, sir.
I want to make sure I put it in context so they also related to what they're dealing with real estate as well. For me,
Sure.
my pain was I had kids, I had no college education. How was I going to support them and give them the lifestyle I feel they deserve without those tools that the other people had that were getting the six-figure jobs? So how was I going to get a six-figure job or make six-figure money with all those tools? But the even bigger thing for me is I was a single dad. How am I going to have enough time to raise my kids without sending them to daycare or putting them in front of the TV and give them the values that instill within them the values that I wanted them to have if I didn't have the time and I didn't have the money? So to me, that was pain. So that's what made me get into real estate investing, because I was able to do it about 20, 25 hours a week and do a 6-figure salary. So I just want to make sure they understand like how to use that in the real estate area or other areas within your life. You know, and now I'm facing a new pain, which my new pain is, how do I create a legacy? And it makes it even more real with the viruses going on now, that you can die early, and I haven't finished leaving the legacy I want for my kids. So, you know, for me, that's the new pain for me.
Yeah. Dr. Joe, thank you for actually expounding on that, because you're 100% correct. I was giving it from one area but you're right. All of us have that space where we're gonna have to make a decision. It's gonna cost us something. And I'll be quite honest and transparent with you and the guests tonight. When I left the corporate arena and you're making, you know, that type of money and you start to become an entrepreneur, that was painful too. Because for a minute, my lifestyle had to change, right? Follow what I'm saying there? And I'm honest and tell you, I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what on earth. So in that space, as I was going through that learning curve, shoot, it was a little painful. And to be honest, now I'm also a pastor. I don't believe in fear, but at the same time, to be quite honest with you, it got a little scary. I'm thinking, I gotta create this on my own. I gotta figure this thing out on my own. Yes, you do. Because in that space, like you say, I'm married and I have children. So I had to find a way to, now I got to take all this information and turn it into what? Profit. How do I do that? Right? But it's something about pain. It's like squeezing, you know, it's like tapping in. And so I'm grateful for it, because the thing about it is, it forced me to go within myself and find the answer. Let me share this with you, all of you. The answer is within. It is there. And so we have to understand the brilliance is on the inside. All of us have innate brilliance. It may be in one area or another, but we all have, talking about the mindset, all of us have brilliance on the inside, innately. Now, so it's not ever a question of capacity. The only question is of willingness to be great. Are you willing to be great? And if you're willing to be great, then there's some things that you're going to have to do to make sure that we can get into a space that greatness can be what? Can be expressed, because it is there. And so I'm very grateful that Dr. Joe has programs such as this one, that we can come together and we can share, you know, what he's done, what I've done, what some of you all have done to create the level of success that you currently experiencing, or at least going in the direction that you can at some point attain that level. And if I may, Dr. Joe, here's one more thing I want to say, because not that your people don't know, but and you've heard it before, but here's what I know. Nothing that is true is new. It may be a revelation if you've never heard it before, but part of my objective here and other aspects is to disseminate information in a way that you can not only receive it, but apply it. Knowledge is not power. It's only in the application of knowledge that it becomes powerful. So when I talk to you about your why, oh, see, I've heard that before, great. But we need to understand it. And sometimes we think we have one. I'm gonna tell you like this. Just having money probably isn't gonna do it. Did I lose someone? Okay, so am I still there, Dr. Joe?
Yes, you're still there. Okay,
cool. So watch this. Really quick, let me give you an analogy. So I don't know where you all currently, probably in your homes. If you drill down through the floor of your home, drill straight down. I want you to go 10 feet into the ground. If you're in an apartment, go through the floor of the apartment 10 feet into the ground. If you do that and you get through, let's say by this evening, there's $5 and you can keep it. How many of you are gonna do it? Why? Because the why is too small. Same scenario. Drill down in your house or your apartment, go 10 feet into the ground, get at the bottom of that 10 feet, and there's $50 million. Today is Tuesday. Get it out by Thursday and you can keep it. You get off the car right now and get going. Because now your why is so much larger. You're not waiting to know. You get it out time. And watch this. You don't care if you have to mortgage your home, sell your car. It doesn't matter to get the equipment that you need to get that money out, because your why is so much larger. So the sacrifice you're willing to make is, you don't mind, because you know at the income I'm getting. And see, and part of the thing is in that space of the mindset, Dr. Joe, is some people don't think it's possible. It's just a hope. It's just a pipe dream. But when you know, no, that I will do, and this is why, oh yeah, you can get some things done, because your why becomes greater. And one of the things, Dr. Joe, that you said, and most of us can concur with, is that ourself is one thing. But when we start looking at our legacy and our children and leaving an inheritance for our children's children, our why just got a lot larger. And so we're willing to do some things that we may not otherwise, because of the reason that we are doing it. What is your motive? Yeah, identify what that motive is. So I'm a firm believer, yeah, I like extrinsic value too. I like nice cars and nice homes, but I have found in my own life, the thing that really kept me going to a much higher level wasn't extrinsic, it was intrinsic. It was the fulfillment of changing lives. Glory to God. Is that okay to say that? So it was in that space where I wanted to really, not just for me and my three, I wanted to feed the community. I wanted to leave a legacy. I want to know that I created some significance, not just success, but significance in the lives of other people as well.